Breaking: Trump just made major statement on Super Bowl. NBC is pissed. Since President Donald Trump is and your typical Republican president ready to be the mainstream media punching bag, he has done something other GOP presidents only dreamed they could do, but lacked the spine to do so. NBC, who is televising today's Super Bowl, and in keeping with tradition also wanted to interview the President of the United States before the big game. But sources at NBC have now confirmed that their interview requests with President Donald Trump have been turned down, although they have also confirmed that he still has an open invitation should he choose to change his mind. Don't hold your breath, NBC. Now keep in mind that when Fox televised the Super Bowl last year, Trump did sit down with Fox now former superstar anchor Bill O'Reilly at the White House. But this year he doesn't care to sit down with fake news NBC or any of their hack partisan anchors. Rightly so. Trump's ongoing feud with the spoiled ball-tossing NFL players maybe could have been a factor in the decision to skip this year's interview. The president has taken the NFL to task for letting its employees run the show and the players who kneeled during the national anthem throughout this year for social justice causes that no one knows for sure are. The first Super Bowl presidential Sunday interview began with George W. Bush and continued with Barack Hussein Obama in 2009 via Yahoo Sports. Bloomington, Min. Perhaps you are one of the football fans who boycotted the NFL this season either because of player protests during the national anthem or because Colin Kaepernick, who started the movement, was never added to a roster. Perhaps you even stuck with your protest and didn't just claim you were done with the NFL only to quickly return to watching a dozen hours every Sunday from the Barcalonger in the corner. If you are one of those dedicated protesters who are still holding out, Sunday is your greatest challenge. Can you skip the Super Bowl? It's not just a game between New England and Philadelphia. After all, this requires avoiding your brother-in-law annual party where everyone drinks a ton of beer. It means walking away from your neighbor-vaunted 7-layer dip. It calls for a full rejection of American society staying home while everyone else lives it up, even if it's just for the commercials or Justin Timberlake. Will President Donald Trump tune into the Super Bowl? Will Kaepernick? I believe the Super Bowl transcends, said Mark Lazarus, chairman of NBC Broadcasting and Sports. Probably, although there will still, undoubtedly, be some people who tune out for personal reasons. How many is the question? Some have already come back, if not publicly, then at least privately. Others will make a Super Bowl exception. Still others will realize that very few players even kneel other than the weeks after Trump called them out, and none have done so in the playoffs. To each their own. Nielsen ratings have been down this season for the NFL, but Lazarus is not one who thinks the sky is falling. While he acknowledges social issues contributed, he also points out that it is but one contributor in a very complex mix, including technology, demographics and injuries retirements to star players. He also cites NBC-owned data that suggests there isn't that big of a drop-off, if any at all. I think more people are consuming football content, Lazarus said. I think there are some less watching the full game broadcast. What's still underreported, however, and Nielsen is working on it, is out-of-home viewing, mainly people on their phone, which adds somewhere between 5 and 10% to the overall viewing, and that pretty much closes the gap. I think between that, the streams and linear, we got similar number of people watching. Nielsen requires selected people to chronicle the shows they are viewing. It done on the honor system. How honest are these people? People tend to lie about pretty much everything, so, for instance, are the ratings for Keeping Up with the Kardashians actually much higher than the ratings suggest because people are too embarrassed to admit they watch? Conversely, are the ratings for PBS NewsHour actually lower? There were many people offended by players kneeling during the national anthem. There were many people who did not want politics to enter their sports entertainment. They all have the right to be offended and the right to allow that to determine what they do and don't watch. In a free and rollicking country, however, social protests are very difficult to maintain over a long period of time. They require incredible discipline, and America is an undisciplined country, which is why they usually fizzle quickly. President Trump does many interviews. There is no reason why he needs to sit down and give the NFL or NBC any more ratings. No patriotic America-loving person should be watching the Super Bowl anyways until the NFL puts a stop to these asinine protests. Although everyone in the U.S. has the right to protest, you don't have the right to do so when you are on the clock, especially when the people protesting injustice are getting an average salary of $2.5 million. Don't you agree? Please share if you are boycotting the Super Bowl.